Good afternoon, students. I hope you recognize this rat. Yes, it belongs to the respiratory system. There are two topics on the screen, bronchial asthma and ARDS. Let me ask you one question before starting. If this is the question on your question paper, how much will you be able to answer? Please think about it and I shall go to the topic proper. Bronchial asthma is defined as a disease characterized by increased responsiveness of the tracheobronchial tree to the stimuli, resulting in paroxysmal constriction of the bronchial airways. Intentionally, I have given a line space over here because there are two components. One is an increased responsiveness of the tracheobronchial tree to a stimulus, which results in a paroxysmal constriction of the bronchial airways. This will be the definition and we shall recite it word by word. Also, there is a component called paroxysmal, which means a sudden increase or an occurrence of a symptom, which can be convulsion or cough from the Webster's dictionary. The symptoms of bronchial asthma include it is unpredictable, it is disabling, there is a severe dyspnea and wheezing. And if it is persistent, the patient can go into a condition called status asthmaticus. And look at the picture over here. It is not for just adorning the screen that I have put it. The patient is under severe trauma. And I find that there is a constriction of the airway along with the increased amount of secretion. When we were house surgeons, there was a case of an asthmatic who had barged into the ward and we were giggling. And the professor of medicine said, "Do not laugh. It is like having your head under water." That is exactly how an asthma is. And there are two kinds of conditions. Trigger. Trigger is something that is starting it, which may be identified, which may not be identified. If it can be identified, that particular component can be avoided. But in most cases, it is unidentified or unavoidable. The types of asthma include extrinsic. Extrinsic, which can be allergic, reagenic, or atopic. Or it can be intrinsic, which is idiosyncratic. It happens on its own. Or it can be a mixture of these two. Extrinsic, intrinsic, and mixed. And I mentioned the word topos over here. It comes from the Greek word topos, which means place. And in atopos means it is out of place. So atopic. It is a reaction that is out of place. Hence the name. This particular sequence I would like you to follow very diligently. The pathogenesis of bronchial asthma. There is an antigen. Antigen is an external or an internal substance that can lead to the production of antibody. That is the definition. When the antigen enters the body, there is a reaction of the lymphoid tissue. And ultimately, there can be the production of a cell called the plasma cell. And from these, antibodies will be produced. So entry of antigen and the plasma cell produces the specific antibody. These antibodies go and get attached to a cell called the mast cell. So you find that this is an antibody that is getting attached to the mast cell. This is called sensitization. Now the mast cell is sensitized. This is the first step. Please follow it. I put it specifically isolated. And look at this one. There is a second sequence. It is a follow-up. Now it will be easy. As a second trigger, when there are a lot of these antigens again getting produced and the patient is exposed, you find that these antigens enter the body and these are the antibodies. They get attached to it. This is called as a cross-linking. You find between this body antibody and this, there is a linkage of the antigen. We call it as cross-linking. As a result of which, it is something like a clip. Now, if I compress this particular region, the cell gets open. And there can be various substances which can be produced, namely NCF, neutrophilic chemotactic factor, ECF, eosinophilic chemotactic factor, histamine, leukotrienes. All these we have seen in the chapter on inflammation and immunology. And ultimately what happens is there is a degranulation of the mast cell releasing all these mediators. So this is the second component of the pathogenesis. What is the third? See what is happening over here. So this we had seen so far, the antigen antibody interaction, release of the mediators. These mediators get attached to specific tissues. It can be the smooth muscle over here. This is the alveolus that is shown. This is a bronchial tree. So there can be a bronchoconstriction, or there can be an increased amount of mucus secretion. There can be dilatation of the blood vessels and edema. So this will be exactly the effects of bronchial asthma. So when a question is asked regarding the pathogenesis, it is most important in this disease. We should write all the three, starting from the antigen up to the production of antibodies, release of the various mediators, and the effects of the mediators. This is the complete pathogenesis, and I want you people to write it. So look at this. You find that these are the various sources of the antigens. It can be infections, variation in temperature. A lot of things are given. You people can just go through. Whatever be it, they will lead to a smooth muscle constriction, or there can be a mucus secretion, or there can be an edema. And since these are all coming from outside, it is extrinsic. Now, what are the morphological changes in asthma? The morphological changes are not very prominent. In some cases, you find that the patient can go in for a condition called status asthmaticus. Status asthmaticus is a recurrent attacks of a bronchial asthma, which can sometimes result in death. The alveoli are over-inflated, over-distended. The walls of the bronchioles are all thickened, and there is occlusion of the lumen by means of thick, tenacious sputum. I think you people can recite all this. And see here, this is exactly, it is a cast of the bronchial tree. This is a mucus plug that we see in bronchial asthma. Exactly a cast. Cast means it is an impression of the bronchial tree. See how thick and tenacious it is. You can imagine the difficulty the patient has got in coughing and spitting it out. And coming to the histology, the mucus plug, that is what we had seen earlier. And 3 C's you people will have to remember. One is the Kirschmann spiral. Kirschmann spiral. Second one is Charcot-Leyden crystals. Third one is Criollo bodies. These 3 please memorize. Apart from that, histologically, there is a thickening of the basement membrane, edema, inflammatory infiltrate, mainly eosinophils, because it is an allergic reaction. and repeated contraction can lead to muscular thickening or hypertrophy. Sometimes a patient can have an attack of asthmatic bronchitis. So this is the histology. Let us see how much of it we can trace in the pictures. So this is the Kirschmann spirals. It is a shred of mucus in which we can find some crystals and eosinophils. The Kirschmann spirals. And sharp needle-shaped crystals called the Charcot-Leyden crystals. Now there is a normal respiratory mucosa. Let us go through it. This is the columnar epithelium which is ciliated. These cells are called the goblet cells, which have got secretory granules that can be released. They are few in number. And there is a thin amount of mucus covering our respiratory tract. So this is a mucus gland. And lower down, I have got the smooth muscle, the cartilage, and the vessel wall. These are the things. We can see that. Now mainly, I would like you people to compare and find out the differences. So there is an abundant amount of mucus that is being secreted in bronchial asthma. And look at the lumen. I am finding a lot of inflammatory cells such as neutrophils and eosinophils. Mainly it can be eosinophils. And these cells become very active. The goblet cells are increased in number and active, and you find that there is a release of the mucus. There is also the entry of the inflammatory cells into the wall. Also here I am finding a blood vessel from which the inflammatory cells are getting released. We call it as a process of diapedesis, etc. in inflammation. So look at the difference between this and this. Abundant mucus, then there is a increase in the goblet cells with secretions. There can be the entry of the inflammatory cells, and also I find that there can be the blood vessels with release of the inflammatory cells. And what can be the complications of bronchial asthma? One is status asthmaticus. We have said a patient can go in for repeated attacks, he can die. A respiratory failure. So the patient fails in respiration. This again can lead to complications including death. And there is a violent inspiration and expiration that might sometimes result in fracture of the ribs. Pneumothorax, again, because of the rupture of the pleura. Air can enter the space leading to a pneumothorax. Pneumonia is due to a superadded infection. Atelectasis or collapse of the lung. These are all some changes that can happen in the lung itself. And cor pulmonale, whenever the heart fails secondary to a respiratory condition, we call it as cor pulmonale. Cardiac arrhythmias and rarely myocardial infarction. These are some of the complications of bronchial asthma. Please do remember them. This is more of a summary. I'm finding the bronchial cast. See, the tree is being maintained. And these are the Kirschmann spirals. Along with that, eosinophilic material will be there, and there can be eosinophils. These are some of the epithelial cells which are released. Again, this is the cytology of it. They are called as creolla bodies. Creolla bodies are clusters of epithelial cells which are getting desquamated. Shreds of mucus, cast, epithelial cells, eosinophils, thickened wall, and increased mucus glands and goblet cells. So this will be a summary of the bronchial asthma. The picture is very useful. Kindly trace the various components. And when a question is asked, you are supposed to define, mention the causes, what are the types of the bronchial asthma, the pathogenesis, very important, gross and microscopic features, and the complications of the disease. I hope you people will be able to recollect this. It is an important question that has been asked, a little difficult, but not as difficult as we take it to be. The second question for the day is ARDS, acute respiratory distress syndrome. This is common in viral infections and a number of other causes, and particularly too, today many patients are now suffering with COVID-19, and you find that this can be one of the complications that can develop in them. The synonyms are DAD, diffuse alveolar damage, and it is also called as shock lung. Sometimes shock lung is asked as a question. ARDS is a question for you. This is a mnemonic I picked up from the net. I think it will be useful for you people. What are all the various causes for acute respiratory distress syndrome? I find that ARDS, to which we can add pneumonia, ARDS of the lung. So it can be aspiration, acute pancreatitis, air embolism, amniotic fluid embolism, all A's. R is for radiation. Sometimes increased oxygen can also lead to respiratory distress. D for DIC, disseminated intravascular coagulation, certain drugs, near drowning. Near drowning means patient is not dead, but he has got all the features. And diffuse lung disease. S for shock, sepsis, too much of smoke or irritant. And any major surgery can also result in ARDS. And L means it can be a lung injury or a pneumonia. So these are all the causes. ARDS is one. However much you people can recollect, please do. So seeing it repeatedly, I am sure you can recollect most of the conditions. And the stages of ARDS will be, there are 3 stages, mainly exudative, proliferative, fibrotic. Exudative, proliferative, and fibrotic. And the number of days is given over here. 4 days, 4 to 8 days, and more than 8 days. Generally, there is a recovery, but sometimes the fibrosis can be severe, resulting in death. And the pathogenesis, you people can just go through it. There is an insult which can be direct or indirect. Activation of the inflammatory cells and the mediators, which cause damage to the alveolar capillary membrane. Increased permeability of the alveolar capillary membrane, and there is a protein-rich edematous fluid that is entering the lung. It leads to a dysfunction of the surfactant. Surfactant is a substance that maintains the patency of the lung, and it helps in the exchange of gases. That is being dysfunctional because of ARDS. This particular flow, I would like you people to memorize and write. This is a morphology. I am finding a lung that is appearing more or less solid. It is almost of the same size, but it is appearing rubbery. Even without touching, I can say that it is like this. And it is diffuse, affecting the entire lung. In fact, both the lungs, all the lobes. So, lung is diffusely firm, airless, rubbery. These words alone you remember. And a hyaline membrane. So, this is an alveolar space. This is another alveolar space. I am finding that it is being coated by a pale eosinophilic acellular material. That is because of the damaged cells. This is being, it is a proteinaceous material that is being deposited along the hyaline, along the alveolar walls. And also the alveoli are showing congestion. Look at this one, lot of these inflammatory cells are there, which are released from the blood vessels. So there is edema, the congestion of the blood vessels, formation of the hyaline membrane. Clinically, acute dyspnea, no other word for it. Patient will be literally suffocated. There will be cyanosis, hypoxia. And there can be bilateral opacity. Nowadays, they are seeing the radiological markings for the diagnosis of corona instead of the polymerase chain reaction. And here I find that does not respond to the oxygen therapy. In the early stages, it can, but later on, when there is a fibrosis, there is no response to oxygen. There can be multi-organ failure, and mortality is 30 to 40%. ARDS is a very important clinical condition for you people as a surgeon, as a clinician, and this is a very nice picture that I picked up from the net. I will not be going into it. Still, I am projecting it to thank this particular author over here, Priyanka Singh. And this is a nice one, which I have summarized over here. This is the exudative phase, in which, look at this one, a lot of this mucus is being secreted and it is literally covering the alveolar space. The second one is proliferation. Look at this one. The cells are multiplying. So there is a proliferation of the alveolar cells in the type 2 pneumocytes. And the fluid is getting drained, not much of damage at this stage. But still, if it is not corrected, you find that it goes in. Look at the threads over here. These are all threads of fibrous tissue. So a fibrin is formed. Once the fibrin is formed, there cannot be exchange of material. Fibroblastic proliferation is there. And so that is the end of it. And though it is rare, it can lead to a death. These are the three stages: exudative stage, proliferative stage, and the fibroblastic stage. Finally, there can be a recovery or death. Efkaristo. Gracias, Tibi.